Hi, this is Terry again. And on this video, we're going to talk about graphing ordered pairs. So if you'll notice, I have a graph that I've drawn on our paper here. And I have it broken up into the X and Y axis. So it's important that we know when we're looking at a graph that the line that goes left and right, that is our X axis. And the line that goes up and down is our Y axis. It's also important to know that right here where they meet in the center, we call this the origin, and we also can label it 0, 0. That means the X doesn't go anywhere and the Y doesn't go anything. We're right in the middle. So that is our origin. So we're going to actually look at a couple of ordered pairs here. I'm going to kind of graph them. So the first one we're going to look at is 3, 2. And before we do anything with graphing, what we want to do first is we want to label those points. And so the very first one in our parentheses, that's going to be our X. So we'll put an X underneath it. And then the second number in our parentheses will be our Y. So let's always label those first. It helps us to be able to figure out how to graph these a little better. So when we're looking at this point, we have 3, 2. We're going to look at 3, which is the X first. So we're going to always start at that 0, 0, and then we're going to go over 3 places. That takes us to that 3. And then the second number in our ordered pair says 2 for the Y, and the 2 goes up and down. So we're going to go from that point up to the 2, and there is where we put our point. Do not put a point after the first number. We wait until we get both numbers before we ever put that point. So this would be 3, 2. All right, so let's look at another one here. Let's try -1 and -4. Okay, again, before we do anything, always label them X for your first one and Y for the second number in your set of parentheses. Then we are going to plot that point on the graph. So we started our 0, 0, and it says the X tells us to go over to the X to the -1. So we're going the X line to the -1. And then the Y tells us to go to -4. So we are going to go down all the way to the -4 and put our point at that point. So this is -1, -4. Okay, so let's look at another one here. This time, let's look at 1, 0. Okay, and so again, first thing we always do, we label the first number, our X, and our second number, our Y. Okay, so on this one, we're going to start out at 0, 0, just like we did before, and it tells us to go to the X of 1. So we're going to go on the X, which is left or right. We're going positive, so we're going right. We go to the 1. And then the Y tells us 0. So it basically says don't move. So wherever we're at right there, that's where we put our point. So this point is 1, 0, because we did the 1 over on the X, but the Y doesn't move. This is also called, if you ever see something like that where you have a point on that X axis, this is called our X-intercept. And you may see those terms used interchangeably. So the X-intercept just means that's where the point is. It's on the X-axis. Okay, so let's look at one more here. This time we're going to have 0, 4. Again, let's label them X and Y. So here is our X. The second number is our Y. All right, so let's see if we can graph this. All right, so it says X equals 0. So we start out on 0, 0, and it says X equals 0. So I'm starting there, but I'm not even moving. So I just start there, don't go left or right, and then the Y tells me I'm going to go up to 4. So I'm going to go up to the 4 and put my dot right on that 4 on the Y. And so this point is 0, 4. Again, this one is called the Y-intercept because it's on the Y-axis. So you may see that interchangeably. Anytime you have something on the Y-axis, that is the Y-intercept. So the key with graphing points is to always remember to label X and then Y. So your first one is always X, the second one's always Y, and then we always do the X first. So we move left or right first before we go up and down. And you have to go both places before you put that point.